this is the defendant, Donna Adelson. We see her here at the defense table, and this is how she appeared back in 2014 when this crime occurred 11 years ago. And the reason that we're here today is because this defendant, Donna Adelson, was part of a conspiracy to hire a hitman to kill her former son-in-law, Dan Markel. This murder was set into motion because back in 2014, this defendant's family had a big problem. And the big problem was Dan Markel. And the solution to that problem was the defendant's son, Charlie Adelson. Charlie Adelson was the solution because he had a girlfriend with connections to the type of people who were willing and capable of pointing a gun at a complete stranger and pulling the trigger. The victim in this case, Markel, was known as Danny to his friends and family. He was a loving father to 2 little boys, and he was a highly respected law professor at Florida State University College of Law. Tragically, on July 18th of 2014, Dan Markel was shot in the head in broad daylight in the driveway of his home in the Benton Hills neighborhood here in Tallahassee. The last day of his life began like any other day of his that summer. He woke up, he took his 2 young sons to preschool, and then he went to the gym to work out. After finishing his workout, he returned home, he pulled into his driveway, and he opened his garage. Throughout his entire routine that morning, he was being followed by 2 hired hitmen who traveled all the way to Tallahassee from Miami for the sole purpose of taking his life. When he pulled into his driveway, the killers pulled in right behind him. Moments later, Dan Markel's neighbor heard a gunshot, and he looked out the window and saw a light-colored Toyota Prius back quickly out of Dan Markel's driveway and speed away. The neighbor thought that was very unusual, very suspicious, and he went over to Dan Markel's open garage to see if there was anything wrong. And he found a gruesome scene. Dan Markel's car window, his driver's side window, was shattered. His glasses and his phone were on the ground next to his car, and Dan Markel was behind the wheel. He was unresponsive and moaning and terribly injured. The neighbor called 911, and law enforcement arrived to find Dan Markel with a gunshot wound to the head. He was taken to the hospital, where he survived for about 14 hours before he was pronounced dead. Dan Markel was only 41 years old, and his little boys, who were deprived of their father after this murder, were just 3 and 4 years old. The little evidence that they do have sends them down 2 separate paths. One path is to track down that light-colored Prius that the neighbor saw fleeing from the scene. And the other is to identify who was inside that Prius. And the other path relates to motive. Who in Dan Markel's life would hate him enough to hire a professional killer to kill him? And after years of tireless investigation, both of these paths led directly to this defendant. And they learned that Dan Markel was entangled in a very nasty divorce with his ex-wife, who is the defendant's daughter. And his ex-wife is named Wendi Adelson. A review of the divorce case file reveals that Wendi Adelson had asked the court to allow her to relocate to Miami, where she was from and where her parents lived, with her children and Dan Markel's children, in order to be closer to her mother, Donna Adelson, to her father, whose name is Harvey Adelson, and to her brother, whose name is Charlie Adelson. The victim, Dan Markel, is adamantly opposed to this, to his children being relocated to Miami. A review by law enforcement of Wendi Adelson's emails made it clear that her mother, the defendant, hated Dan Markel and was the relentless driving force behind Wendi's relocation efforts to South Florida.
and he's going to say that each element of each offense has to have actual evidence to prove that. 2 men killed Donna Markel. They put her at the top of this pyramid. She's the matriarch mastermind behind Donna being killed, and they don't have evidence of that. That's what's outrageous. We're sitting here with a jury, and you're going to hear a lot of theory, a lot of motive, and a lot of what they believe the evidence means. We're going to ask you to find her not guilty of every single count. Thank you.
Please say your name and spell your name.
My name is James Gier, Geiger.
Sir, where do you live?
I live at 2122 Trest in Tallahassee.
How long have you lived at that residence?
It's getting pretty close to 50 years now, I think 48 or 49.
All right. I want to take you back to July 18th of 2024. Now I've got an ad on me. Do you recall something unusual that happened that day? I'm sorry, I said 2024. 2014, sir. You know what case we're here about. Do you remember what happened on that date?
Yes, I do.
All right. Could you please tell our jurors how something unusual first got your attention?
It was a Friday morning, about 10:30. My wife and I were sitting in our living room looking out towards Trescott Drive, out to the street. As we were sitting there, we were doing something with our iPads, and we heard a popping, loud sound, bang sound, and we immediately got up and walked to the front. We have a big picture window, walked up to see if we could determine what had happened and where it had come from.
And you said you walked over there just to sort of look around, make sure everything was okay. What did you see?
As I approached his garage, I noticed that the garage door was open, his car was inside, and the motor was running. And so I thought then, I guess so much for a burglary. I don't think that's happened if Danny's there. So I turned around and walked back to my house.
Okay. What happened next?
I can't tell you why, but I just stood at my front window and looked out and waited for a few minutes, maybe 3 or 4, up to 5. And for some reason, it just didn't quite seem right. Danny hadn't backed out, and I thought by this time he should have backed out of his driveway, and he didn't. And so I said to my wife, I think something just seems wrong. I'm going to walk back over. And so I did that.
Yes,
and
sir.
so I walked into the actual driveway then, and I saw that the window, the driver's side window, had been shattered, and I stepped on glass at that same time. As I looked inside, I saw a bloody head. The head was slowly moving back and forth, rolling back and forth, left to right, and I hollered immediately, "Danny, what happened?" And I didn't get any response other than the head rolling, and so I hollered again, Danny, what's happened?" Still nothing.
During the time that you were present at the scene of the shooting, did Mr. Markel ever regain consciousness or ever say anything that you heard?
No, I never heard him say anything. The only notion was that his head kept rolling back and forth during the 911 call, which...
Sir, please introduce yourself and spell your name.
Louis Rivera, Luisrivera.
Mr. Rivera, where are you from?
I'm from Puerto Rico.
Were you living in Miami back in 2014?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been convicted of a felony,
Yes, ma'am.
including the murder that we're here about today?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And you're currently incarcerated?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that for this case or this case and another case?
Both. Well,
Both. So it's a federal sentence and this sentence.
In state case.
What did you plead to in this case?
This case, guilty.
What did you have to do in exchange for getting a 19-year sentence?
I had to cooperate.
What does cooperation mean to you?
Telling.
Telling on who?
My co-defenders, Garcia, Katie.
To cooperate and get this deal, you had to turn on one of your best friends.
Yes, ma'am.
Who enlisted Sigfredo Garcia to be a part of this murder?
Katie,
Who's Katie?
his wife.
Is that Catherine Magbanoa?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know who enlisted her to be involved in this murder?
Not really.
Was it a murder for hire?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know that somebody was paying Katie?
Yes, ma'am.
And Katie was the one that brought the money to you all, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the purpose of this murder as you understood it?
That they wanted the kids.
Who wanted the kids?
Wendi.
Okay. And did you understand that you were killing the father of the kids so that Wendi could have the kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you previously referred to a dentist being involved?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was the dentist?
Charlie,
And how was he related?
Katie's boyfriend, side piece, whatever you want to call him.
All right, so Katie was the wife of Garcia, but also the girlfriend of the dentist?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right, so you did come back in July, is that right?
We came back.
And that's when you came in the Prius.
Yes, ma'am.
And you rented the Prius, right?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Did you follow him to the gym where he went inside and worked out?
Yes, ma'am.
But somehow you learned that Dan Markel was leaving town the day after he was killed.
Yes, ma'am.
So it had to be done that day or he'd be gone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that came through Garcia to you from Katie.
Yes, ma'am.
But you did know there was a lady that you were helping get some kids back in Tallahassee.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I pulled up right behind him, and Garcia jumped out and shot him.
How many times did Garcia shoot Mr. Markel?
Twice.
Did he shoot him? Where was the victim when he was shot?
He was inside his parking garage, in his sitting down the driver's side on the phone.
How much did you get?
35.
Was there anything unusual about how your payment was packaged?
And that's where he was killed.
Yes, ma'am.
And the woman who wanted him to be killed, past you and Sigfredo and Katie, the woman who wanted him to be killed was Wendi Adelson, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Donna Adelson and Harvey Adelson, you see those on the top?
Yes, ma'am.
I asked you, as far as you know, were they involved in any of this? And you said no, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So I asked you to put X's next to the people who on that page were not involved in this.
Yes, ma'am.
Were there any death benefits, any monies that were to be gained from the death of Dan Markel?
Yes,
Did he have a life insurance policy?
he did.
What was the amount of the life insurance policy?
One of them was for $2 million,
And a second one for $60,000?
$60,000 from a second one through the law school.
Were there any survivor benefits for these kids in the event of Dan's death?
There was
What are those?
$4,800 a month.
Who gets that money for the disbursement of the kids?
Wendi Adelson.
What about through his employment at FSU Law School? Did he have a pension there?
He had a pension, a deferred comp, 401k,
And an estate worth some money, right?
approximately $300,000.
Now, Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera, those are the two subjects that you establish as being in the Prius, is that right?
Correct.
And we've got two different numbers for Luis Rivera, is that right?
Rivera had two separate numbers, but his main one was 5'7".
All right. And the nicknames that are shown there, are those the nicknames that those two go by?
Correct. Correct.
Did you develop a theory or any evidence as to why these two people came to Tallahassee to murder Dan Markel?
Eventually, we learned that the female, Catherine Magbanua, was the mother of Sigfredo Garcia's children and considered each other spouses, to my best understanding.
Okay. And
At
did
the
she
same
have...
time,
Go ahead.
same time, we also found out that she had been dating and in a relationship with Charlie Adelson.
Did you attempt to procure some employment records from the Adelson Institute to verify Ms. Magbanua's employment?
We did.
All right. Tell us about that.
Special Agent Sanford from the FBI went to the office, physically to the office in Broward County, Tamarack, and served a subpoena seeking records for the employment of Catherine Magbanua, and we received nothing at the initial time. Later on, the best I could get from, I believe it was an attorney that represented that dental office, just a list of checks that were paid checks from the Adelson Institute to Catherine McBanwa, but no W-2, no responsibility forms, nothing that showed what she actually did as being employed at that institute.
According to those checks, during what period of time was Catherine McBanwa on the Adelson Institute payroll?
From September of 2014 all the way, this particular one shows March of 2016, but I believe it goes further than that into May 2016.
All right. So it starts shortly after the homicide, about 2 months?
Yes. Actually, the homicide happened July 18th, and the first check was dated September 18th.
Please state your name and spell your name.
Wendi Adelson, Wendiadelson.
I want to ask you about your ex-husband, Daniel Markel. Is that a fair and accurate photo of Mr. Markel?
Yes.
When did you meet him?
We met originally online. It must have been the fall of my first year of law school, so 2003.
Okay. And when did you marry Mr. Markel?
We married in February of 2006.
Were you living in Tallahassee at some point as a married couple?
Yes.
When did you move to Tallahassee?
We moved to Tallahassee my final year of law school, so that would have been in the summer of 2005.
And how many children did you have with Mr. Markel?
We have 2 children.
And did there come a time when you and Mr. Markel separated?
Yes.
When was the separation?
It was in the fall of 2012.
Whose decision was it to separate?
It was mine.
Did you move out of the marital home while he was on a business trip?
I did, yes.
Where did you go when you left the marital home?
I went to another property that I had rented for the boys and me.
As part of your divorce, did you file a petition to ask the court for permission to relocate to South Florida?
I did.
And was relocation important to you?
It was, in terms of having a safe and stable place for my kids. So I would see him at work. I never knew when he was showing up. So I'm sure this is 12 years ago that's how I felt at that time.
Okay, and relocation was also very important to your mother, wasn't it?
Yes,
All right, and did you have some discussions with your mother about relocation?
I did.
And was that during that time frame when it was pending?
Yes,
Your mom didn't want you to be stuck in Tallahassee either, did she?
she did not.
She wanted the best for you, right?
She saw the best for me as not being in Tallahassee, yes.
That's right. She referred to being in Tallahassee that you were a hostage and a prisoner, right?
Yes, she did.
Were your parents employed during that time frame?
Yes.
What kind of work did they do?
My dad was a dentist and my mom was the office manager for the dental practice.
All right, and what about your brother, Charlie? Did he have a role there as well?
He was a periodontist, and so I believe at some point he purchased the practice. I don't remember what year that was, but he would sometimes work from my dad's office and sometimes work from other offices around South Florida.
I think you said you did send many of your divorce pleadings to her, is that right?
I did.
Is it fair to say that your mom, the defendant, is a controlling person?
I don't think my mom is a controlling person.
Did you say at one time back in 2013 that your mom operates with emotional subterfuge?
I may have said that.
Would you like to refresh your memory?
I can.
It's tab 45 in the binder in front of you.
Yes.
What is meant by that?
I honestly don't know what I meant at the time.
But not that she's controlling.
I don't think that's what I meant.
And did she hate Dan Markel?
No, not in 2016.
What about 2014? Did she hate him then?
No.
Did you say in that interview for court and counsel, I'm referring to page 288, lines 24 through 289, line 1, quote, "My parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else."
At that point, I was sitting with law enforcement for 6 hours and had just been told that Danny had been shot. So I was in shock, and I was trying to help the police think of anything I could possibly think of that would be helpful.
You hated him too, right?
At certain points, I was very frustrated with him.
Did you refer to him as an STD? Tab 5.
It looks like I made that analogy.
Danny is an STD. One wrong mistake, marrying him, and this will never go away. Is that what you said?
I did.
Did you refer to your ex-husband as Gibbers?
I did.
What is the meaning of Gibbers?
Gibbers was just a silly name that a friend helped me come up with to basically make him feel less scary.
And did you say in that email, that same email, quote, I hate my children's dad?
I did.
Did you ever refer to your ex-husband, Dan Markel, as an emotional terrorist? Dan Markel was killed between 8 and 12, right? We
He
know
was.
that now. I'm going to ask you a few more questions about Mr. Lacasse. You said you might have mentioned the joke to him about TV's cheaper than a hitman. Did you ever use the term TV as code for the murder in any context?
No.
Did you ever hear your mom do that, other than the recordings in this case?
No.
And on July 13th, 2014, do you remember asking to share something in confidence with Mr. Lacasse?
I don't remember doing that.
Did you tell Mr. Lacasse in the context of, if something were to happen to Danny, I could move back to Miami? Did you tell Lacasse that regarding the relocation battle in the summer of 2013, Charlie had, seriously, not as a joke, explored all options to resolve the problem, including hiring a hitman?
I did not have that conversation with Jeff Lacasse.
I want to go back to the day of the murder. We know about the TV repairman left about, did you say about 9?
The truth is I don't really remember, but something like 9 or 10.
Definitely before 10 or by 10?
Yes, that's my best memory.
All right, where did you go after the TV? Where was the next place you went after the TV repairman left?
Then I left probably close to noon or a little bit after noon. I was meeting 2 friends who I would frequently meet on a Friday to have lunch with. And so I went to run a few quick errands and then meet them for lunch.
And on your way to meet the friends, did you have an occasion to go down Trescott?
I was trying to turn down Trescott. That's where I used to turn and take just the road I was used to, yellow tape up. And so when I tried to turn, I couldn't turn, so I made a 3-point turn and kept going on Centerville.
And so you encountered a police roadblock at that location?
Yes.
And that was, you were able to see that from the intersection there, or you actually turned onto Trescott? How far down Trescott did you proceed before you turned around?
Just until the tape.
Which one of you or your ex-husband had the kids the night before he was killed?
The night before, they were with Danny.
All right, so it was his responsibility to take them to preschool that morning?
Yes.
Did you attempt to call Dan Markel when you encountered the roadblock?
No.
Did you attempt to call your kids' daycare after encountering the roadblock?
No.
Did you notify anyone that you observed the roadblock?
I was talking on the phone at the time, so I may have said to the person I was talking to, oh, I'm trying to drive, but I have to turn around, hold on.
Did you attempt to investigate in any way or ask anyone what the roadblock was about?
I wasn't concerned about the roadblock.
Was Mr. Markel scheduled to leave town the day after he was killed?
I don't remember if he was scheduled to leave town on Friday afternoon or on Saturday morning, but I know that he would go to New York every time he had a chance, and I think that was where he was going.
Did Mr. Markel leave you a message on the morning of his murder?
He did.
Okay, and did he indicate on that message that he was going to the gym that morning?
He did.
And specifically, did it tell you he'd be at the gym between 9:15 and 10:30?
I don't remember, but that sounds about right.
Did you talk to your brother Charlie on the morning of the murder?
I did.
And does an 18-minute conversation at 9:30 a.m. that day sound correct?
It does.
Do you remember the nature of that conversation?
I do. I didn't purchase the TV, so I didn't know how much the TV cost. And so I called him to find out if it made more sense to get the TV repaired or buy a new TV because I didn't know what the delta was there.
Do you have WhatsApp on your phone at that time?
I did.
What is WhatsApp?
WhatsApp is a phone service. It's an app that I use when I talk to people who live in other countries, but it's a device to send messages.
During the time frame that we're talking about, which is around the time of the murder, did you communicate with any of your family members through WhatsApp? Did you ever communicate with Catherine Magbanua through WhatsApp?
I don't remember ever texting her on any platform.
After you turned around and did not proceed down Trescott, you went, I think, to the liquor store. Can you tell us about that?
I proceeded to drive to the liquor store. I saw tape and turned around. That's right.
Did you relocate to South Florida after Mr. Markel's death?
In terms of relocation, I did leave Tallahassee after the funeral, but I took a weekender for both the boys and me and thought I would be back pretty quickly.
Did you come back?
I did come back a few times, but
Just to get things though, right?
not really to get things. I came back a couple of times to give a talk or to do some work,
But what I'm interested in is, where were you living after the murder?
I wasn't living in Tallahassee.
Did you recall on the trip to South Florida, just within 48 hours of the shooting, getting a call from Craig Isom?
Yes.
And what happened with that call?
I talked to him for a while. He mentioned that he might want to have DNA samples of the kids. We were already halfway down. We'd been in the car for about 4 hours with the boys.
Who's
and
the we in that sentence?
I was with my parents and the kids.
Yep. Did you change your children's names after Dan Markel was killed?
About a year after I did.
In what way did you change their names?
I changed their last name and I changed my older son's middle name.
And you changed their last name from Markel to what?
To mine.
Adelson.
Mm-hmm. No, I from the beginning I was scared when I put them in school, and so I didn't legally change their name until a year after, but I was socially using my name for them.
And did that start as soon as their dad was killed?
No, it started when I had to register them for school.
And your mom helped with the registrations as well, didn't she?
I think I did the registrations myself.
What about here for flag football? Did your mom assist with that?
It looks like she did. There were some after-school activities.
And she registered your child under the last name Adelson, right?
Yes.
Where was Dan Markel buried?
In Toronto.
Were you or your children in attendance at his funeral?
No.
When was the last time you spoke to your mother, Donna Adelson, as we sit here today?
November of 2023.
Okay. And so she hasn't given you any information or advice about how to testify in court, has
No,
she?
ma'am. No.
What about, you did offer testimony in November of 2023 as well, right, on a related case?
Yes.
Okay,
October.
And did your mom, when you spoke to her in November of 2023, offer you any advice or thoughts about how you should act or behave or what you should say in court?
Yes.
She did.
She did.
And what was that?
I can't tell you I remember exactly, but she was hoping I would be supportive of my brother.
She didn't feel you were supportive.
No.
But you do admit that your brother said he looked into hiring a hitman to kill Dan Markel.
I admit that my brother made a tasteless joke repeatedly about buying me a TV because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
But then someone did hire a hitman who did kill Dan Markel, right?
Yes, that happened.
Why did you tell investigator Isom in your law enforcement interview that you were worried the police, or you were worried in the police car on the way to be interviewed, that you might be considered a suspect?
Because I couldn't think of anything bad going on in his life other than the divorce. And frequently the ex-wife is a suspect.
But you mentioned 9 times in your law enforcement interview being a suspect, didn't you?
I did, yes.
When you were approached at the restaurant, you weren't yet told that this was a shooting, were you?
I was not.
You were only told something happened with your ex-husband.
I was very scared something happened to my kids, and that's why law enforcement was there, and they wouldn't tell me what was going on.
But they did reassure you that the kids were fine. You remember
They told me
that?
that law enforcement officers were with the children, which terrified me because I didn't know why my children would need law enforcement officers.
So you didn't know what this was about at all when you were in the police car?
In the car, they told me.
Okay, in the car they told you what?
They said, your ex-husband has been shot.
Okay. So that you learned that information prior to getting into the interview room?
Yes.
Did you suggest that your parents are people who may have been angry enough to kill Dan Markel?
I suggested a lot of people who could have been angry enough to kill Danny.
And were some of the people my parents?
Yes.
You said Charlie, right? Can you at least tell the jury you definitely did say Charlie as one of those people?
I did.
This is law enforcement interview page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Question, regardless of who it is. Answer, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
Thank you. Could you tell us your name and spell your name for our court reporter, please?
Sure. Robert Todd Adelson, Adelson.
How do you know the defendant in this case, Donna Adelson?
She's my mother.
And Harvey Adelson's your dad?
Yes.
Would you describe Donna Adelson's personality as being more controlling or more laid back?
I think more on the controlling side.
Throughout your life, was Donna Adelson in charge of the money at Adelson Institute?
I always remember my mom like signing the checks and writing the checkbook at the table.
Okay. What did Donna Adelson tell you about the plan for Wendi Adelson to leave the marriage?
Sure. When she told me that that she had been in Tallahassee for several months.
This is Donna Adelson had
Yes.
been?
That she had been in Tallahassee for several months, renting a new place for Wendi, arranging for movers, moving money around, and getting things set up. I only knew this after Wendi had moved out, but she was relating to me what had occurred over the summer, and then told me that somewhat gleefully or pleased that they timed the phone call to Danny right before he was supposed to give a speech at the meeting he was at. I remember her saying she had used her maiden name so there wouldn't be an Adelson up here renting or hiring movers or such.
Who cared more about Wendi Adelson's divorce from your conversations? Was it Donna or Charlie?
Donna. In the lobby of the Westin, and I assumed something terrible had happened, but I wasn't ready for it. She said, so we just want to let you know that Danny's been shot, and they took him to the hospital, but he didn't make it. And it didn't make any sense. And I probably asked like a few medical questions, and they said they're driving up to go help Wendi, and we'll talk to you later. We can't talk now.
Okay. Was she crying in that conversation?
Not
Donna
in that
Adelson?
conversation.
Sir?
No, she was not.
Okay.
It was very matter of fact.
Did she ever give you any further detail that weekend about how he'd been shot, or other than just Danny was shot and he didn't make it?
I think it was the next day. So the only really other time that I spoke with him that weekend, one of the things that she told me is, it bothered me, but I didn't have any other details about, but she said that someone went to the front door and said, "Are you Dan Markel?" and then shot him. And then I said, "Well, how could you know that? Who's telling you that?" And she said, "Well, that's just what they're telling us." And
Okay. So she said someone told her that someone knocked on Danny's door, said, "Are you Dan Markel?" He said yes, and the shooter shot him.
That's the story I heard. Later we found out that wasn't what happened, but that story bothered me a lot because there's only one way you could hear that story.
Was she crying when she told you that information?
No.
You mentioned earlier that law enforcement contacted you after Dan Markel's murder. Did they contact you to try to see if you knew any information?
Yeah, they came to our house. I was already at work, and so they talked to my wife. It had to be a Wednesday or Thursday, so I was already at work.
And is this your house in New York?
Yes.
After that conversation with the FBI, did Donna Adelson ever say anything to you about having talked to law enforcement or the FBI?
And she called me and said, "I just want to let you know if the police come around, don't talk to them."
Okay, so she told you not to talk to law enforcement.
Correct.
Did you let her know that you already had talked to law
Yeah,
enforcement?
I said I already did.
And what'd she say to that?
She said, "Oh, well, you don't know anything anyway."
Was that an unusual statement coming from your mother?
Yeah, it just, everything that week was unusual, but I clearly didn't know anything, but I wasn't going to not talk to the FBI if they show up at my house.
After the murder of Dan Markel, did Donna Adelson seem curious about who killed Dan Markel?
No.
Was there a complete lack of curiosity?
Yeah, nobody seemed curious.
Did you actually ever ask her, like after the murder, like, hey, like, what do you think happened? What do you?
Yeah, and the conversations were kind of rerouted, or that was certainly discouraged. And it was probably like maybe sometime like mid-August when I finally had a chance to ask and say, what is going on? I mean, this was not a small event. This was getting a lot of notoriety. And I said, what do you guys think happened? And she had said, I don't know and I don't care. It doesn't concern me.
Was that out of character for her to not be curious and not be asking some questions?
Yeah, it was an unsolved murder of my former brother-in-law, like someone that we all know very well. This was like national interest, and nobody had any curiosity about who did this to Danny.
On the 28th, did you talk to Donna Adelson?
Yes.
All right, and when she called you, was she telling you the good news that Danny's killers were arrested?
No, just called us for our anniversary, wished us well, and had some small talk for a bit. I kind of let it go for a little bit, and I mean, this was not small news, and so I finally broached the topic and said they found the guy, they arrested someone who killed Danny. There's no response, and I said it at least 2 or 3 times that they made an arrest. They got the guy who killed Danny, and then her response was, I've got to go.
And then did she hang up the phone after that?
Yes.
And did you ever talk to her about it again, ever after that?
No.
Other than her reaching out for happy birthdays, happy anniversaries, that kind of thing, was that the last conversation you had with her?
That was the last time I spoke to her.
Okay.
And did the subject of relocation come up?
Yes.
In what context?
It came up in the context of whenever Wendi got back from Miami, she was always very upset about the fact that the relocation had previously been denied. I mean, it had been legally denied, but she wasn't over it. It was a constant refrain about how much she hated Tallahassee. The only way she'd ever be able to relocate is if something happened to Danny, was the first statement. And she said, well, can I tell you something confidentially? And I said, sure. Last summer, my brother looked into all options possible to take care of the Danny Markel problem, including hiring a hitman, and it would cost about $15,000. She said Charlie.
Okay. And when she said Charlie looked into hiring a hitman, are you familiar with Charlie's joke? I looked into hiring a hitman, but got you a TV as a divorce present because it was cheaper.
Yeah, Wendi had told me that joke a couple of times. This was not that joke.
Okay, so this was something different.
Yeah, the joke was said with levity. It's a dark joke, but well, this I found chilling. I found disturbing. It made my stomach flip. It kind of took me aback. It was, she was dead serious.
We're at July 14th, the Monday before the murder.
Yes.
Did you see Wendi Adelson on that date?
Yes. So I just put my hands up like this. I remember this vividly and just turned around and walked away. 15 feet away from her, and she calls after me. I turn around, and she had a series of detailed questions about what I would be doing on Friday. I had a trip to Tennessee planned, and she wanted to know if I was going on that trip, and she wanted to know what route I would be taking. And if I didn't go on the trip, why wouldn't I go on the trip? And I answered the questions as best I could, but I was confused why at that moment she wanted to know the details of what I was doing on Friday when she expressly didn't want to spend time with me on Friday.
Okay, and we now know that Dan Markel was murdered on Friday.
Yes.
Right? If you had taken the trip as planned, which is as you reported to Wendi that day, what would your route have been?
I would have left my house at about 11 a.m., which Wendi knew. I'd related my plan to her earlier in the relationship. I would have left at 11, and I would have driven down. I would have got to Capitol Circle in Thomasville, which is close enough to Danny's house that it kind of gave me the creeps. It was kind of weird. Yeah.
Okay. So physically, you're saying you might have been sort of consistent with where the killers, how the killers fled town.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I want to ask you about, I've nicknamed it the celebration dinner. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Understand the court's prior rule.
Objection is overruled.
Wendi and I reestablished phone contact about 10 days after the murder. She called me, and we had 3 or 4 phone calls. In one of them, she related that her and Charlie had gone to what Charlie called a celebration dinner, and at that dinner, Charlie said something to her. She didn't specify what it was, and she spontaneously vomited all over the table.
Are you aware, sir, that you were suggested as a potential suspect in this
Yes.
murder, right?
Of course.
Was there a reason? I will.
Okay.
Was there a reason that you wanted to be at least part of your payment for this to be through the payroll at Adelson Institute? But it couldn't be too much money, right?
Yeah, it couldn't be too much money.
All right. And so, were you actually doing any work for your payment at Adelson Institute?
No, ma'am, I was not.
Who signed your paychecks from the Adelson Institute?
Donna Adelson.
How many paychecks did you receive?
I can't recall.
Does 44 sound right?
I can't recall.
If we assume 44, how many of them were signed by Donna Adelson?
All of them.
And we've talked about the bump. Did you meet with Charlie Adelson after the bump?
Yes, ma'am.
Who called that meeting, him or you?
I believe he contacted me.
All right. And did you sit in the car with Mr. Adelson for a few minutes before going into the restaurant?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened when you were in the car with him?
Well, I got inside the car. He came outside of my job and basically asked where we're gonna eat. And he turned up the volume in his car and kind of just leaned towards me and was just telling me that his mom got approached.
Okay. And did you continue to hear more from him about his mom being approached once you entered the restaurant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and at the time you did not know that law enforcement was intercepting those conversations, did you?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you have any concerns that he might be trying to set you up during that meeting?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you feel that did he do anything to make you think he had suspicions that you might be trying to set him up?
Yes, ma'am.
So what you're telling the jury is you met Charlie Adelson and started a dating relationship, right?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point he tells you that he wants something to happen to someone, right? He wants someone to be harmed.
Yes, ma'am.
And he asked you if you know anybody that could take care of that for him, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so then you contact Sigfredo Garcia, who's the father of your children, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you and he are having a rocky relationship, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you engage Sigfredo Garcia to be the one who causes whatever harm it's going to be to Danny Markel, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And after you do that, you know who Luis Rivera is, right?
Do I know? Yes, I know.
At that time, you knew who he was?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But is it your testimony you did not know that he was going to be involved with this as well?
Yes, I did not know that he was going to be with him. Let alone, I didn't know that Sigfredo was even going to be the one.
Oh, I'm sorry, you hired someone other than Sigfredo to do it?
No, I didn't know that I just gave him, I told him that somebody needed to be harmed. I didn't know that he was going to be the one.
Donna did not have any conversations with you, did she?
No, ma'am.
There's no lying here, right?
No, ma'am.
Donna had conversations with Charlie.
Yes, ma'am.
Charlie.
I'm going to object. She wasn't participating in those conversations.
Overruled, I believe the witness earlier testified concerning this very issue. You may continue your examination.
Donna had conversations with Charlie, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Charlie had conversations with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Charlie was the go-between between you and Donna, wasn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
The same way you were the go-between between Charlie and Garcia.
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions.
I'm going to step down.
Throughout the emails that we see in the records from donnaharvey@gmail.com, is the display name sometimes Donna Adelson, as we see here?
It is, yes.
Is it sometimes Donna Sue?
Yes.
Is it sometimes Donna and Harvey?
Yes.
And is it sometimes Harvey Adelson?
Yes.
Okay, so is this an email from Donna Adelson to Wendi?
Yes.
Okay, and is also a way of determining who sent the email, who signed off on the email at the end?
Yes, certainly the signature or content of the email itself.
Okay, looking at this specific email, in this email, does Donna Adelson call Dan Markel a name?
She does, yes.
And what does she call him?
She says, this guy is a major fucker. I hope that your attorney is the shark that is her reputation.
And then in this email, looking down 2 paragraphs below, does it say, Gary told Dad yesterday?
It does, yes.
So in this communication, Dad is referred to in the third person?
Correct.
Okay. And just as you were saying before, can that give context about who sent the email so that it seems like Mom is sending the email as opposed to Dad from that shared email account?
Correct.
All right, and is this email signed off on?
It is not.
Okay. Looking 2 months ahead to May 21st of 2013, is this an email from Donna Adelson to Wendi Adelson?
Yes.
Okay, and in this email, does she say, wow, exclamation point?
Yes.
And says, he is such a royal jackass. How smart are you to get rid of this piece of S word? And then types out a scream.
Yes.
All right, and is this email signed off on?
It is, with I love you, Mom.
Were there also emails that showed Donna Adelson's strong interest in Wendi and her sons being able to relocate to Miami?
Yes.
Looking at another May 2013 email next, is this an email from Donna Adelson up top to Wendi?
Yes.
And in this email, what did Donna Adelson tell Wendi Adelson is the most important part of her divorce?
So this is slide 42 that we're on now, and we see that the most important part of your divorce is relocation. I sincerely hope your attorney understands that that is your non-negotiable. Yes, she does. Yes, the request to relocate with the children to South Florida, yes, was denied.
All right, and what does Donna Adelson say to Wendi Adelson in this email? So this one's from Donna Sue up top?
Correct.
Okay, and what does she say about their recent loss in court?
She encourages Wendi to never, never give up, and that it is time for action, time to take control of your life and not let Gibbers, which is a nickname for Mr. Markel, think that he's just won anything by having you remain in Tallahassee.
And I think we've seen the text messages placed Donna Adelson at Charlie Adelson's house.
I believe the outside your house text message is indicative of her being outside his house.
Okay, that's what Donna Adelson tells us in that text message, right?
I believe so, yes.
And then she has an hour and 6 minutes, was it, of unaccounted for time on the stretch of the drive that's on the same stretch of the drive where Charlie Adelson's house is, right?
Correct.
My role in the operation was of a gang member, and what I was instructed to do was to contact and bump Donna Adelson.
What does bump mean?
A bump is a law enforcement operation during which an undercover agent or an undercover police officer would conduct a face-to-face meeting or encounter with a subject or a person of interest in an investigation. And what we look for, the results we look to get would be one or a combination of either I would try to extract, or the undercover would try to extract information, or they would try to pass on information, or possibly set up a future meeting with the individual, or tickle a wire or a telephonic intercept.
All right, so you were asked to approach Donna Adelson. Is that what you did?
That is correct.
Where did that happen?
I believe that happened in South Miami, somewhere near her residence.
Okay. And did you just walk up to her on the street, sidewalk?
I did.
Okay, and what did you do?
Well, I was instructed to walk up to her and engage her in a small discussion as to why I was meeting with her, and then eventually handing her a flyer.
Okay, is that what you did?
Yes.
All right, and I'm going to show you the flyer. I've marked as States Exhibit 83.
Okay.
Is that what you handed Mrs. Adelson?
This is it, yes.
Okay, Judge, I'd ask to introduce States 83.
States 83 is admitted.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
When you indicated that you were playing the role of a gang member, what does that mean?
Well, a gang member is anybody that's involved in any type of organization or regarding criminal activity. I was actually very friendly.
For the bump that was on the street?
Yes.
Okay. Mrs. Adelson told you that you scared her, didn't she?
I think she was startled. I mean, I'm not good looking, so maybe that scared her, but.
Were you dressed up all pretty like you are today?
No, ma'am.
How were you dressed?
Just jeans and a t-shirt and open, I believe, like a bluish button down.
Now, in the bump, with the flyer that you handed to Miss Adelson, you had some information on there, $5,000. And when you spoke to her, what did you say to her?
Well, when I engaged her, to the best of my recollection, I said to her that we know that their problem up north had been taken care of, and that Katie and Tuto are being taken care of, and my brother Tato has not been taken care of. He and his family have not been taken care of, and that they should take care of him and his family, something to that effect, him and his family, like they are taking care of Katie and Tuto.
And who's Tuto?
Tuto, from what I understand, was Sigfredo Garcia.
And who was Tato?
Tato was Luis Rivera.
So you tell her that you know that her family is taking care of Tuto and Katie, but not your brother Tato.
Correct.
And Tato is Luis Rivera.
Correct.
And he was incarcerated at that time.
Correct.
And you told her that in the Broward County Jail, the two of you been together, right?
I don't believe on the bump I said that.
She didn't pay you the $5,000, did she?
I don't believe they ever did.
Okay, and that was on April the 19th of 2016, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. As of the 23rd, you still had not heard from Mrs. Adelson, and so you sent her a letter, did you not?
That letter I did not physically do it. That was the investigative team that wrote and sent that letter.
April 21st, 2016, are there any calls on that date?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
Close to an hour after the last call, he calls Donna Adelson.
Hey, Charlie. Hey, how are you? Good, how are you? Good, good. I'm actually running late to the office, so get gas, and then I'll be in.
Is there evidence in the phone records that Donna Adelson went to Charlie Adelson's home on the night of Dan Markel's murder?
So there is another communication from Miss Donna Adelson at 8:59 p.m. stating outside your house.
Outside your house, and she's sending that message to Charlie Adelson, is that right?
Correct.
What can you tell us about her locations that night and how long she could have spent at Charlie's residence after sending this message?
So in that call, or just prior to that call, did Charlie Adelson hit star 67 in an effort to camouflage his number?
He did.
And then when he hangs up from the Undercover, who's the first person he calls?
Catherine McBanwell.
How many calls does he make to her?
3, as I recall.
And does she eventually call back?
She does.
Hi, what is your name?
Hi, my name's June Umchinda.
Will you spell that, please?
The first name is June, and the last name is Umchinda.
Where do you live, ma'am?
I live in Boca Raton, Florida.
Do you know Donna Adelson, the defendant in this case?
I do, yes.
How do you know her?
I was Charlie Adelson, her son's ex-girlfriend at one point.
Okay. Can you describe for the jury what the beginning of your relationship with Mr. Adelson was like? Had you met his mother?
I have.
How many times did you meet his mom?
Not more than 5 or 6, I would say.
And when you met her, was that at family events or what type of events?
Some family events and some weekends or dinners or just get-togethers.
You did learn some things from the media about this case. Was there something that stood out to you about how the hitmen said they were paid?
I did read the affidavit and everything, which said Luis or somebody mentioned they were paid in staples, like bundles of cash with staples.
And why did that stand out to you?
Because I noticed that Charlie stapled his money, or he had money that was stapled.
Okay, so you had seen that in his residence before?
Right after I read that, so.
What about Donna Adelson? Did her behavior change at all around this time frame that we're talking about?
So I wasn't around her a lot, but when I did see her, yes, she was upset.
Okay, and did you describe her as a mess?
Yes, if it's there, yes.
What does a mess mean?
Just like mentally upset and physically drained, or not their usual self.
All right. Was she crying when you saw her?
At a point in time, yes.
And was there a time when you were on the balcony of Donna Adelson's residence and she made a statement to you about Dan Markel?
We were speaking about Dan because the case was such a big thing at that time, yes.
Okay, and what was the statement she made?
Well, her life was crumbling down in her family's life, so she said everything felt like Dan was haunting her from the grave, or them, I don't know. Whatever it says there.
She feels like Dan's back from the grave, like haunting her or something.
In reference to that, yes.
Okay. But when you testified in Katie's trial, didn't you say that those weren't the exact words that she said? She was just very upset, and to you it came out like that. Didn't you testify to that?
What's the page and line, please?
Let's see, it would be page 1196, line, well, it starts at line 3, the questioning, but the answer is lines 14 through 16. I don't know if they were those exact words. I think she was just so stressed out and upset that that's how it came out. That's what you testified to, correct?
If it says it there, I don't remember Katie's trial because it's been a while, but if it says it there, then that's what I said.
What is it that she wanted you to testify about?
She wanted me to testify about numerous different things about Kay, mostly about Miss McBonlaw.
And Miss McBonlaw, you knew her by the nickname Kay?
Yes.
Okay. And so she had some things she wanted you to say about Kay.
Correct.
At some point, did she prepare a script for you of exactly what she wanted you to testify to?
She did.
Can you imagine a mother involving a son to complete a murder?
The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself. Count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as the count 2 of the indictment: conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder.